Sam King from the Lafayette Journal and Courier joins us now. He covers Purdue. Sam, thanks so much for the time. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing very well. So take me back a couple of weeks ago when the Louisville job comes open. What was the chain of events up there in West Lafayette, and how surprising was it when Jeff Brom said, "Hey, I'm going to go home"?
It was probably the most unsurprising thing to happen this football season for Purdue, honestly. This has been a talk now for probably 5 years at least, that the ultimate goal was for Jeff Brom to go take that Louisville job. It opened up a couple years ago, and the timing just wasn't right for him. He felt like he had some unfinished business here, and now having won the Big Ten West title, getting to that Big Ten title game, reaching the Citrus Bowl, 9 wins last year, 8 wins this year. I felt like he could leave here feeling like, okay, I've helped turn this program around. Now it's time to go back to my alma mater and try to do the same there.
So he leaves. He's got to go recruit in the early signing period, and you figure there will be some coaching members from that staff that will follow him. But what does the coaching staff look like for Purdue for this game? And is there any concern about their focus level and where they may be headed come the next football season?
No, so his brother, Brian Brom, who also was a star quarterback at Louisville, played in the NFL for a little while, is now the interim head coach. He's going to coach this one game. He's done this before last season, or I believe 2 seasons ago when Jeff Brom got COVID. He coached a game against Iowa. Purdue won that game. So he is 1-0 as Purdue's coach, and he's going to be in charge here for the next game, and then it's going to be a lot of turnover. Purdue's already hired Ryan Walters to be the head coach next year. He's already started to assemble a staff. Mark Hagan, who's the defensive play caller for the Citrus Bowl, he's going to Louisville after this game. I think all of these coaches will probably depart once that's over, and you're going to have a whole turnover, and things are going to shift quickly from there.
We know that Ed O'Connell has decided he's not going to play. Charlie Jones is not going to play. Payne Durham is not going to play. Just how depleted in terms of numbers is this Purdue roster with transfer portal, opt-out, et cetera?
Well, I don't think it's quite LSU of a year ago.
That's another level.
Yeah, it is. It's concerning when it's, your probably 2 best pass catchers, your quarterback who's a 6th-year senior and has been the leader of your team now for 3 years. Some of the defensive guys that are not going to play are big-time, either guys that have gone in the transfer portal or opt-out. So it is concerning as a Purdue fan. It is, unfortunately, the way college football works now, especially when you do have a coaching change before the bowl game. Guys are going to opt out that think they have a chance to go to the NFL, which, the 3 offensive guys that have opted out probably have a good shot of being drafted. It's just, new guys have to step up. Purdue went through this a year ago in the Music City Bowl against Tennessee. David Bell, the top receiver last year, did not play in that game. George Karlaftis, the first-round pick, defensive end, now playing for Kansas City, did not play in that game, and new guys stepped up. And, even though people don't know the names of the guys that will probably be playing some key roles in the Citrus Bowl, I think that Purdue is confident that, hey, we have some guys that can go in there and compete and, maybe make a name for themselves in this game.
I don't think LSU fans are totally familiar with Purdue. It's probably not a team that they've watched a ton of, but I think most college football fans understand, okay, they had Brom up there at Purdue. They run the offense. They throw it around a little bit. They score a lot of points. That's kind of the Purdue identity. When you lose your quarterback and your top 2 pass catchers and your coach moves on, do you expect the offensive philosophy to look different, or, hey, we got different guys out here, but this is what we do?
Well, one of the major things that Purdue did was bring in Drew Brees to coach the quarterbacks for this, stretch of 3 weeks or so. So that's a big boost in terms of just having that knowledge and understanding of the game. On top of that, Austin Burton, who's going to be the starting quarterback in place of Aiden O'Connell, he can run a little bit, which is something that O'Connell was not, great at. He was more of a drop back, stand in the pocket and pick you apart type passer. But Austin Burton offers a little bit of a different dynamic because he does have that running ability. He's not probably going to run it a lot, but he's more than capable of picking up yards on the ground. So you have that. And then, receivers are just going to maybe get more opportunities than they have in the past. And they have a running back who's this year was a redshirt freshman walk-on that's approaching 1,000 yards rushing, which is kind of came out of left field. Nobody saw it coming. He's now on scholarship. That was the first order of business for Ryan Walters as the new coach. So I think there's going to be some guys that feel like they've got a chance to go in there and have something to prove, and just haven't had those opportunities yet.
Sam King covers Purdue for the Lafayette Journal and Courier, joins us here on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Sam, where's the strength of this Purdue defense for this Citrus Bowl?
Oh man, I would have said defensive line, but those guys aren't playing now.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be hard to say. They're going to be extremely thin, and all three, the front line, the linebackers, and the secondary compared to what we've seen all season long. And it's for me, if I'm a Purdue fan, extremely concerning when you look at a dual threat quarterback, and you have inexperienced guys that haven't played a whole lot. I think that's one area that LSU has a major advantage, is just having the ability to run or throw it over your head. That's one very concerning thing, I think, going into the Citrus Bowl, is that I don't know where the strength of this defense is. You have some guys who are leaders, like a linebacker, Kieran Douglas type, but we don't know a lot of these guys and what they're capable of doing, and now we're going to find out.
This is a tough question to answer for sure, but where do you think the motivation level is for this Purdue team as they head down to Florida?
Well, I would hope it's extremely high because, Purdue has had a great season. It's not Alabama, it's not LSU. The expectations are probably a little bit different here in terms of, I guess, what's realistic. And having 8 wins in a season it's a big year here. So for these guys, I think hey, we got a chance to go out and finish strong. The motivation was extremely high last year playing Tennessee, and it's like, hey, we've heard that the SEC is the cream of the crop in college football, and now we get to go play one of those teams. A lot of the players that I talked to in the last couple of weeks have mentioned how they grew up watching LSU football and idolized guys that were coming through that program. So it's a big deal for them, and now they get to go out there and strap it up against LSU. And I think that they're going to be, pretty highly motivated. I think that the reason that the staff is still remaining here, that probably is off to Louisville after this game, is because this was such kind of a special season or a special 2-year run here that Purdue's had as of late, that they want to finish off on a high note, and felt like these coaches gave them the best opportunity to do that.
You mentioned LSU last year in their bowl game, and everybody around here obviously knows that story. They went out there with 38 guys and had a wide receiver playing quarterback, and we all knew that they had no chance in the game. I'm not suggesting that Purdue is that decimated to where they don't have anyone to play quarterback, but when you look at this roster, you've covered this team, how realistic is it that Purdue can put a sincere effort on the football field on January 2nd?
I think that it's kind of the Purdue mentality that play hard is what they say here, and they really buy into that. And I think they will fight. We saw it against Michigan, but obviously there were some pieces there that aren't going to be there for this game. I don't even know, with Charlie Jones, with Aiden O'Connell, with Corey Trice, Payne Durham, I don't know if they would beat LSU or compete with LSU with those guys. And now you're asking this team to do it without those guys. And I know that LSU has opt-outs and guys in the transfer portal as well, but I think that the two teams are probably at a different level, especially when you equate what is not there for Purdue that was so much of what Purdue did this season.
Last question here, Sam, because where LSU is now the weakest based on the transfer portal, they've lost their entire starting defensive line from the season opener. Now, one of them went out on the first series of the season for the year. The other 3 have decided they're not going to play in this game. So when you look at Purdue's offensive line, I know that Maccabee at running back is really good. Is that unit intact, and could that be something that Purdue could attack?
I think that, obviously Purdue's brand is throwing the football around, but without a Charlie Jones who caught, majority of the passes, it felt like this year. He had over 100 receptions, and then Payne Durham, who's been a reliable tight end for several years now. I think that you might see running the football, and I'm sure that Purdue has some wrinkles in there that haven't shown up on film yet. You can do that when you get some different personnel in there. There's probably going to be some trick plays and things that we haven't seen this season that nobody probably has seen on film yet. So it will definitely be interesting to see how they attack that. I would imagine that Maccabee, especially being a guy so close to 1,000 yards, who has said that's one of his goals. They would like to try to get him those 80 yards or whatever he needs to reach that plateau. But it's also just going to go with the flow of the game. It's how can we attack them, and how do we feel that we can have the best chance to drive down the field and score points. So the fact that it is right now the defensive line, that it's going to be some guys that haven't played a whole lot this year, maybe that's the route that Purdue will take and try to establish itself on the ground early.
Hey, thanks so much for watching the Hunt Palmer Show on YouTube. If you don't mind, throw us a like right below and hit the subscribe button. We'll see you next time.